Lately, we have been getting some questions about what our favorite cruise line is, especially after we just finished our 4-part series on the Disney Fantasy. So we thought we would do a video about our comparisons of the Disney Cruise Line versus Royal Caribbean, which is where we've done most of our sailing so far.
Disney Cruise Line is more family focused than Royal Caribbean in my opinion. They are both wonderful ships and wonderful cruise lines, but Royal Caribbean, I think, has a wider variety of amenities and things to do versus Disney. I think Royal Caribbean is my favorite. Not to say I didn't love Disney, but Royal Caribbean was my favorite ship.
I, on the other hand, loved Disney Cruise Line. We've only been once, but I cannot wait to go back. It is two of my favorite things. I love cruising. I love Disney. You squish them together. What's not to love? I didn't know that I would like it as much as I did.
Royal Caribbean has 26 ships traveling to over 300 destinations worldwide. Disney Cruise Line has 5 ships and goes to the Caribbean all year round with seasonal cruises to Alaska, Mexico, Canada, and Europe. As of the making of this video, there are 2 more ships on the way in 2024 and 2025.
There's also a lot of variety in terms of the ship sizes between the two lines. Royal Caribbean's Oasis class, which is their biggest, is on the water right now.
Huge.
They have twice the capacity of the average Disney ship. So when you have a bigger ship, there's also more things to do. So if you're looking for just lots of activities, Royal Caribbean's going to have it.
They have those wider activities. They have trivia, they have the casino, there's some gambling stuff in there. They have things for adrenaline junkies like iFly, which is like their skydiving tunnel thingy, which is, I tried it once before pre-accident. It's pretty cool.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And so they also have Flow Rider, which is their like surfboard thingy. They have a lot of variety of onboard activities for things for people to do. Versus Disney is more family focused in terms they have like baby racing, they have
character meet and greets, there's lots of kids activities. They had trivia and things as well. So, I mean, there certainly wasn't a lack of things to do on Disney. I mean, granted, I've never done the iFly or the zip line. Like, I didn't miss those things. And as an asthmatic, I sure enough did not miss having a casino. I know that the lack of a casino on the Disney ships, that is a deal breaker for some. So it's really about what you're looking for. They both have adult only areas. But ironically, I think Disney does a much better job at the adult-only areas. On Royal Caribbean, typically there is a solarium pool that is adults only, and there may be a bar in there, and there might be a restaurant. The problem is no one really polices that, and because the restaurant is in there that kids are allowed to attend, that means kids are coming in and out of the entrance, so there's really no deterring someone from, you know, having their kids in there. So I feel like I've always seen at least a couple of kids in the solarium when I've been in there. Whereas on the Disney Fantasy, I did not see one kid. Yeah. It is a completely separate area. The coffee shop is in there and kids don't need coffee. So that was not, you know, there's no one going in there for that. And the spa is also in the adults only area, and that was fantastic. They also had the rainforest room, which most Royal Caribbean ships don't have anything like it. I've seen some of the overlapping features in some of the newest ships, but generally speaking, the rainforest room style offering isn't available other places, and I loved that so much. Let's talk about the entertainment options.
The entertainment was, the key differences, I think, in entertainment was on Disney Cruise Lines. They are IP heavy focus with a lot of family friendly, great shows, very fun to watch. Versus Royal Caribbean, which was more Broadway style shows. Both were great. They were like very entertaining. But I think Disney was more family-focused and kid-friendly shows, where the Royal Caribbean shows a much more variety and older audience, in my opinion.
I do think the talent on Disney was a little higher though. I will say that. I think just because that is their deal, right? So they're not going to skimp on talent there. So in terms of the artist, it seemed like there was a higher caliber of actor or performer on Disney. So let's talk about the accessibility and compare the two.
Okay, it's hard to, I guess, compare the two because a lot of the things are, I guess, standard and normal. A lot of the public areas were very wide and wide-ranging. I can go in through the door as I need to. But overall, I think the accessibility part of them were the same. Some of the newer ships have more and better features versus older ships.
Yeah, like there was that one time on Royal Caribbean where we got into an elevator and it was a touchpad for the buttons. And when you hit the handicap button, all the buttons lowered so that it was easier for him to touch the floor.
So that's one feature that's great on the newer ships they may not have on the older one. In terms of going down the aisle or going down the hallway, it's slightly larger hallways on some of the newer ships versus the older ones, but you still can get through pretty fine and easy without any issue.
And if you find that there's like a cart in the way or something, there is somebody with that cart very close by. Just yell and somebody will help you.
They'll move it down the aisle pretty quickly, yes.
Okay.
Dining on the Royal Caribbean is different than on Disney Cruise Line. Disney Cruise Line has rotational dining. On one night, you're in one dining venue. Next night, you go to a different dining venue, and so on. Royal Caribbean has more traditional dining, where you stay in the main dining room, and your waitstaff is there. And they get to know you better. Both cruise lines, the waitstaff gets to know you, but you don't change venues. I like the traditional dining where you stay in one room, one restaurant, or one main dining room.
Personally, I like the rotational better. I know that Royal Caribbean tried rotational when they built their Quantum class ships, and Royal Caribbean guests did not like it. And so then they had to reverse course and go back to traditional dining. But for me, when I was on the Disney ship, I think because Disney put so much work into theming their spaces, especially their restaurants, it was such a new experience going to each dining room that I really liked getting to have all those different experiences.
Specialty dining, they both have specialty dining.
Disney has like one restaurant and then one fine dining, $300 a person situation. And Royal Caribbean has a bunch of different options that range between your $10 to $50. And so certainly lots more variety on Royal Caribbean in terms of your specialty dining, but you definitely don't get that upscale situation that you have at Remy's on the Disney ships.
Both are something I would recommend that you try, especially restaurant. I highly recommend you try at least once because it's different. It's unique. And so you won't be disappointed. You go there and you will be wowed. They have some great options in food. So
the other thing, one thing that I liked a lot more about Disney than Royal Caribbean is that a lot more things were included. Disney does not charge for room service. We did tip, but there's no actual charge for room service. We were also able to get sodas and other drinks included in the fare, whereas there's a separate charge for that on most other cruise lines. The coffee that is included is Joffrey's coffee, and so it's very good compared to, you know, I've had the basic coffee on Carnival and Royal Caribbean, and both taste like sludge, and I just cannot. And so when I'm on those ships, I usually get the beverage package so that I can get lattes and specialty coffees.
Right.
But on Disney, I think I got one latte the whole time. I didn't feel the need because the included coffee was delicious and completely acceptable. And they had alternate milks and you know, I felt very well taken care of there. So that was a, you know, great option, and just felt, I did not feel nickeled and dimed on dining and extras the way I do on Royal Caribbean. So I feel like that was worth mentioning. And let's talk about specialty diets. So before I had a gluten intolerance, I would have said that Royal Caribbean's food was better because just the variety on their menu, the quality of their meals, I liked it better. However, I've done 2 cruises now, one Royal Caribbean and one Disney, since knowing that I had a gluten intolerance. And Disney did a much better job of dealing with my food intolerance.
Yeah.
Both advertise that they will handle it. And Royal Caribbean even has a section of their buffet that is dedicated just to gluten intolerances. But it was not great food, and it was food that would have been gluten-free anyway, and it wasn't a lot of options.
It wasn't specialty gluten-free, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And I felt like whenever I was asking for something to be made gluten-free, it was like it was a hassle. They were going above and beyond to find me a dessert. Like, I felt like I was a burden somehow because of my gluten intolerance. Whereas Disney, it was just another Tuesday. It was like, oh, all right, sure. Yeah, here you go. You know, they had delicious chicken nuggets and French fries.
Room service chicken nuggets that are gluten-free were like...
they were delicious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, Disney was prepared. They had breakfast pastries. Did I have the same donut served to me 3 times? Yes, I did. But it was good. It was fresh. It was... it got the job done, and I didn't feel like I was somehow odd or causing them a problem by needing gluten-free things. Royal Caribbean definitely did not make me feel that way. So I didn't go hungry on either, like, to be clear. They found things, but I enjoyed the food more in terms of finding my, things that I could have on Disney, minus that animator's palette nonsense that we'll talk about in the top. But besides that, it was all great.
It's all right, yeah.
So in terms of service, you can't beat Disney Cruise Line. Disney is known for its service, and that is very apparent on Cruise Line. On Royal Caribbean, we often get a junior suite or better, and we've even gotten the Star Class suite where you have the butler, and yeah, that was quite the splurge. But, so there, obviously you get top class service. Yeah. But I honestly felt like I was getting that same level of service when I was in a standard veranda room. And I am sure that when you're in Disney Concierge, the service is even above and beyond and is probably like that butler service, truthfully. But the standard service was fantastic, and it didn't matter if you were in a interior room or what have you. Everyone was just so friendly and
helpful. Always trying to help me out when trying to get food at the buffet. It's like, their service was like, sometimes you do get that with somebody in a wheelchair. They try to help other guests and crew members. They try to, can I take your plate to your table, or do you need more stuff? And like, oh, okay, I have it. Yes, thanks. That service was out there. It was great for, I think, Disney Cruise Line. It was like, just everyone is almost tripping over themselves to help you. But that's great. Royal Caribbean was it was the same, but it's different, I would think.
It's just not quite so magical. I mean, that's, Disney brings you the magic, and there's a reason why us weirdos walk around in ears. Like, it's just, it's magical. One thing that Disney cannot beat Royal Caribbean on is price.
For the price of a 3-day Disney cruise, you could probably find a comparable itinerary on another cruise line for 7 days. So that is one of the big differences between the two. So that's something to keep in mind when you look for itineraries and prices. But you don't have to do all that nonsense. You can just go ahead and contact Brooke at Vacation with Magic, and she will look up everything and find everything for you. Itineraries, locations, all that good stuff. We will help, or she'll do most of the work. She will find all of it for you and make sure you're hooked up just right.
I will say that for summer 2023, Disney does have some sales that are bringing it a little closer to some of the other lines. Disney certainly isn't the most expensive cruise line by far, but you are getting value for what you're paying for. It does not feel overpriced to me. It's just that you're getting so much more. You're getting more, but you're paying more. So do you want all those things? If not, then maybe you go with a different line. But it was a great experience. It was super relaxing. I think it was probably the most relaxing cruise I've ever been on.
Yeah.
That hot tub in the rainforest room, whew,
the views at night from there was like by yourself, and yeah, it was.
Yeah, watching the sunset while in a hot tub all by yourself. Like, I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, granted, that is a paid extra, so that is not an included thing. But it puts it over the top for me. The fact that they even had that was so fantastic. So, but honestly, it comes down to what you like most. And if you have questions, if you want, feel free to leave questions in the chat. If we don't know the answer, we are happy to look for it on our next cruise, because we're definitely going to be going on another one. We don't have one planned yet, but we were even looking today. So so we're hoping to get back on the seas soon. But until next time, thank you for watching. If you liked our content, please subscribe to our channel. And of course, if you have any travel needs, feel free to give us a call, and we would be happy to give you a no obligation quote and help you find an accessible trip that meets all of your needs. Thank you.
Bye.